Hey everyone, Irix Guy here. I want to do a follow-up review of the GoPro HD Hero 3. And now this particular one is the black edition, which is the top of the line GoPro HD Hero 3 version. And I purchased this, actually I pre-ordered it from GoPro a couple days after it released. I was so excited, I've been so impressed with using my GoPro HD Hero 2, which I also still own, that as soon as they announced this GoPro HD Hero 3, being the video nerd and computer nerd that I am, I had to get one. And I apologize, my allergies are kind of crazy today, but I'm still going to go through with this video. So the first thing that one might notice, especially if they've had a GoPro HD Hero 2 previously, is the thickness of this. The GoPro HD Hero 3 is significantly thinner, and you can notice that it's lighter too. I don't notice so much as the weight being lighter as I do the thinness of the camera. So it's an improvement there. When you have it on your head, it definitely feels lighter. Not that the GoPro HD Hero 2 was heavy. I mean, I wore it when I water skied, boated, rode my bicycle. I attached it to the vented head strap mount and filmed while I was riding my bicycle. So, I mean, it's definitely not cumbersome to have on top of your head. Now, looking at this GoPro, and like I said, I pre-ordered it, so I got it about a month or so. I mean, I got it as soon as it hit the market, give or take a few days, because I had pre-ordered it. So I got a lot of hands-on experience early. And I will say, out of the box, there were a few things, and don't take this the wrong way. I just want to provide very candid feedback. And I'm a GoPro lover. I love all my GoPros, my Hero 2, my Hero 3, and I'm going to buy whatever the next latest and greatest is whenever it comes out. So you got me for life, GoPro. But there are a few things here that were a little bit confusing. When I took this out of the box, and you may be the type of person that likes to read an owner's manual, I don't. First thing you're going to notice is that this thing's hard to get open. And you can check out my other video on my channel where I explain it. But getting this out of the case was the first struggle I had. And it didn't include instruction manual with the box that I received, so I had to go to the internet to look at that. And after a little bit of trial and error, and you can watch my other video to see this, but the arrow, the direction of this arrow on this little thin piece, it should have been, in my opinion, instead of pointing back like it is towards the back of the camera, they should have put that little white arrow on the front so you see it pointing up. Because what you're doing when you open this, you're pushing over, and while you keep that pushed over, you push up on that thin piece. Like so. And I had to put it down to do it because I do it with my thumb. It takes quite a bit of force to open it, but you push over on the top piece and up on the little thin piece. So they need to repaint that little white arrow on that thin piece. It needs to be on the front pointing up so that if you're like me and thousands of other people, you're not trying to push back to get it to open. That's a minor complaint, but it's definitely an area of improvement for future revisions of this GoPro HD Hero 3 camera. Other than that, the lens here, you can see it's flat, as opposed to the GoPro HD Hero 2, which kind of has a fisheye type look to it. Now the flat lens, it's a huge improvement. It's a huge improvement from the standpoint that when you're filming, although you still get that famous GoPro, you feel like you're in a video game and you're watching the GoPro videos effect, although you still get that, you don't have as noticeable of a fisheye effect. So it's equally immersive when you're watching the video, but it's not as much fisheye, so it's even better. And then what's also good about that is that with this GoPro HD Hero 3, you're getting a lot better video quality. The low light performance of this greatly surpasses the low light performance of the GoPro HD Hero 2. Also with the GoPro HD Hero 3, you're getting Wi-Fi out of the box. And that's all models. The GoPro HD Hero 3 comes in a white, a silver, and a black. And like I said, this is the black, the top of the line. One important thing to note about the GoPro HD Hero 3 is that the black edition is the only one that you can get 60 frames per second at 1080p resolution. With the silver and the white, you're only going to get 30 frames per second. Same goes for the GoPro HD Hero 2. Not that that's a problem. 30 frames per second still looks awesome, but with that 60 frames per second versus 30, when you're slowing down or speeding up video clips, this camera, the black edition GoPro HD Hero 3, really shines and trumps the others greatly. Although the others are great, this one greatly trumps them. So if you're on the fence and you don't know, should I buy an HD Hero 2 on sale? Should I buy an HD Hero 3 at the current price? And should I just splurge and get the top of the line? I would definitely splurge and get the black edition if you want the maximum performance. If you plan to use it for a while, you plan to do a lot of retiming of your videos, speeding them up, slowing them down, definitely go black edition. If not, I would probably go the bottom one, which is white, GoPro HD Hero 3, or I would go GoPro HD Hero 2 on sale. Because all your mounts, at least currently, most all of your mounts that work with your Hero 2, since it's the same type adapter, will likely work with your HD Hero 3. So if you got an HD Hero 2 on sale, you could always upgrade to HD Hero 3 later on and still have a bunch of mounts that would be compatible. Some other things I wanted to point out about the HD Hero 3 is instead of using a full-size SD card like the Hero 2 does, it uses a micro SD. And that's not a problem at all. Micro SD cards can be found very inexpensively. Amazon, Newegg, GoPro website, etc. And you just got to make sure you get Class 10 micro SD. And what I found with that, I get the micro SD cards, and I get the generic Chinese ones that come with the full-size SD card dock. So in essence, what you can do, you can take the micro SD card out, put it in this little dock thing that makes it, basically turns it into a full-size SD card. And I do that for storage, because these things are easy to lose because they're really small. But if you keep them in your backpack or your camera bag, they're less likely to misplace because they're bigger. And not to mention, if you've got an SD card slot like I do in my MacBook Air, I can put it in that and sync without having to attach a USB cable to the camera. Brings up another good point. Unlike the Hero 2, where all of your inputs were exposed, all of your inputs in the Hero 3 are covered up with a little plastic cover. So if you need to plug in your USB sync cable to charge it, if you don't have a battery charger that you use externally, you need to remove that and put it in. So all of that works really well. One other, and I don't want to harp on this, but before I go into this, the audio quality on this with the waterproof backing, in my opinion, although the Hero 2 was great, the audio quality of this is even better. And the reason I know that is that when I do my edits in Final Cut Pro 10, I've noticed that with this Hero 3 Black Edition that I seldom have to increase the volume, because even filmed with waterproof backing on, it's usually already good. Whereas my Hero 2, there were certain scenarios where I would have to bump up the audio volume slightly if I filmed with the waterproof backing. One thing about this Hero 3 also that's awesome is that you can now, if you've got an iPhone or an Android, you can download the app, the GoPro app, and you can control your camera without having to use, and that's something else. This came with a Wi-Fi remote, basically just a remote control that shows the same display and settings you can control from the camera itself, you can control from a remote. And that's really nice. But if you download the GoPro app for your iPhone, or your Android, you can control and even see the video stream from the camera, which is pretty cool. But that leads me to my final point about the GoPro HD Hero 3, which I love. It was a shaky start. When this came out, it came out with the firmware. When this hit the market, not just this, but the other HD Hero 3 models, the white and the silver, when they hit the market, they didn't have the most current firmware that became available on December the 14th. Now, the firmware that became available on December 14th enabled the GoPro app to work. prior to December 14th, 2012 firmware, you couldn't use the GoPro app. So they shipped these things, they got on the market real quickly, and if they wanted to execute more perfectly, they would have waited till that firmware was ready to ship, because there's a lot of frustrated GoPro owners out there that may not be aware of the fact that they need to go to GoPro.com and update their camera's firmware. They may not have the technical level of knowledge to know that. They may assume that their GoPro app just doesn't work on their iPhone or Android, and they may assume that their camera is somewhat buggy, and in reality it's just a software update. Because I was about, and this is with my level of technical abilities, because I've dealt with GoPros for a while, I was about to send this back for repair or replacement until I did my research and connected with a community of GoPro users and found out that most everyone was plagued by the same problems, and that the firmware update addressed most all issues. Now there are some minor issues, not with my camera in particular, but there are some people that complain about overheating. And I can tell you that when this thing is charged up, it does get a little bit warm. It gets a lot more noticeably warm than my HD Hero 2 does. However, I can attest to the reliability of this camera because I took it through a rigorous series of tests, and you can check out my videos on my YouTube channel in my New York City playlist. A rigorous amount of tests in New York City, downtown Manhattan, filmed a ton of video of this and didn't have any lockups. So it's it's proven to be very reliable, and you know, I like this camera. So my honest advice, and I welcome your comments and your questions, I encourage you to check out my GoPro video playlist because I've got a lot of other videos that may have addressed some of your questions, and then also you can see the quality of this and my HD Hero 2 in the real world where I filmed with it. You can see how good these cameras are. But welcome your comments and questions. If I can answer, I'll do my best. And I thank you for watching this, and feel free to share this video and all of my videos with others. If you haven't done so already, please subscribe. It's youtube.com/IrixGuy. Y'all have a good day. Again, awesome cameras. Good job, GoPro.